Are live. We are live. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. We have a big show for you today. My name is King David MMA. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, a pro MMA champion. I coach at Extreme Couture, and I recently helped Felony Charles Bennett get his first knockout victory since 2016 at Knucklemania and BKFC. It is St. Patrick's Day, so I'm rocking the green, the Mitchell firm. The neon green St. Patrick's Day shirt. Let's go, guys. If you got some mass tort lawsuits going on, hit up the Mitchell firm, man. They'll help you out. All right, guys. Furthermore, shout out to Fight Circus. You know what I mean? Shout out to Fight Circus, home of the freak show fights, guys. Check out Fight Circus if you want to get freaky. And shout out to big shout out to Studio Millions. If you know a gym owner, send them to Studio Millions. Studio Millions will absolutely pack their gym. That gym owner will love you for it. So send them to studiomillions.com. Let's get right into it today. Let me take a drink of this watermelon Zevia. It's St. Patrick's Day, so you know how to get the one with the green swirl on it. All right. I had 2 other energy drinks this morning. Each of those had 200 milligrams of caffeine. We're not going to talk about the names of those. Because they have more calories, and I don't want to promote caloric intake on here. You know what I mean? But sometimes I just mix it up. But today we had to get the green Zevia, or the green and pink Zevia for St. Patrick's Day. We have White House conspiracies going on. Bro, today we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm really excited because we have White House conspiracies today. The first one is super lighthearted. It's still crazy. It's still awesome. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. Dana White, these are not my words. I haven't talked to Dana to confirm this, but he may be playing 5D chess with Donald Trump and Ronda Rousey. We're going to get into all that. We're going to get into what it means. This conspiracy theory is so freaking crazy. If it's true, man, there's people operating at secret 5D genius levels. We're going to get into all that. There are some big fight rumors out right now. Big fight rumor number one is that Dana still has a trick up his sleeve. He has one more fight that he might be announcing very soon to the UFC White House card. Rumor number two, big fight rumor, is that Jake Paul will, in fact, announce another big fight tomorrow for the MVP Netflix card. So he's already got Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. He's already got Francis Ngannou versus the UFC veteran. He's already got Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry. And tomorrow, Jake Paul, the rumor says that he will announce another big fight for that card. I'm curious to see who it is, guys. We're going to get into who it might be, and we're going to speculate a little bit on that potential MMA matchup. It's going to get crazy. Furthermore, boxing star Ryan Garcia did the body shot challenge with Clavicular, the looks maxing influencer, and Clavicular sparred Neon, guys. It was the gayest sparring session I've ever seen in my life. But we're going to get into all that. We're going to talk about Ryan Garcia versus Clav in the body shot challenge. If you guys haven't seen this, listen, guys, it's nuts. Joe Rogan had some hot takes about the UFC White House card. Joe Rogan has some hot takes about Dana, about Ronda, about a lot of things stirring up right now, about fighter pay. He said some stuff that you might not expect him to say. We're going to get into everything Joe said. We're going to get into the White House card conspiracies. We're going to get into it all today. We have a very, very big show. I'm excited. For everybody that has already subscribed, you know that we say a lot of controversial things on this channel. And if you are in the notification group, then you already know that when you get notifications, you can hop on and chat with me live, because I'd rather have a dialogue than a monologue. And I'd rather build a community together, and have a conversation with you. I'm just one of those guys. I want to reach out. I want to connect, all right? So if you haven't turned on notifications and subscriptions yet, do that. We do these lives every day, guys, at just different times, I'm about to go spar Felony at Extreme Couture. So I want to hop on here before I go do that, because sometimes after I do that, yesterday, if you guys go watch yesterday's live, the topic was hot. We got into a bunch of good stuff, but man, I felt a little bit out of it, y'all, just a little bit. So we're getting it in today before we go spar. We're going to go spar probably 10, 12 rounds at Extreme Couture. Man, This neon green is the St. Patrick's Day play, guys. The Mitchell firm, man. If you listen, I can't. They're helping people. Okay, they're helping people. They got lawsuits going on helping people. I'm talking about helping fire victims, helping back page victims. They got a lot going on at the Mitchell firm. So shout out to them. And let's get right into the good stuff, guys. The White House conspiracy is this. Okay. Ronda Rousey used to be Dana's darling. Ronda Rousey used to be the shining light star celebrity of the UFC. She broke barriers. She got onto late night television. She was the darling of Hollywood. Everyone in Hollywood loved Ronda Rousey. She'd wear her badass leather jacket and her leather pants, and the UFC would book her all kinds of media, and she was a very, very big star for them. And she says that she is very, very friendly with Dana. She also says that Dana is loyal to a fault. Now that might sound crazy because she's coming out banging on the UFC and fighter pay and saying that Paramount is ruining the sport and things like that. But what if? Okay, so because they're saying that the Netflix card might be bigger than the UFC White House card. And if that happens, that's a huge blow to the UFC. But what if Ronda Rousey doesn't make it to the fight? Guys, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying this is the conspiracy theory that I'm hearing around Vegas. I'm in one of the top gyms. I train with all the UFC guys. This is the conspiracy that's going around right now. That Ronda Rousey has teamed up with Dana White to get signed to Netflix because Dana and Jake Paul have beef. That Ronda is helping Dana ruin Jake Paul's MMA aspirations of being an MMA promoter because she's not going to make it to the fight. And if Ronda doesn't make it to the fight, and then Francis and this guy Francis are fighting, have a lackluster fight, and then obviously Nate Diaz is going to submit, Mike Perry within like the first round. Then what? It's like, oh man, fight business ain't as easy as it seems, guys. So this is the 5D chess that like Dana's been hanging out with Trump. Everybody says that Trump is playing 5D chess globally, right? That he's, making plays overseas that seem like they're one way, but they're actually another way. And that, he's exposing the deep state and all this stuff, right? And they're saying that he is helping Dana learn how to manipulate situations like this. And I'm not saying any of this is true, but can you imagine if Ronda and Dana were working? I told you it was going to be a fun one, guys. I told you it was going to be a fun one. I'm excited. I don't think any of this is true, but this is what people are saying, and this is what the conspiracy theories are kind of crazy. But what if this actually happened? What if Ronda and Dana teamed up as a joint attack on Jake Paul and MVP, and Ronda pulls out of this fight? Like, I'm not saying that anybody would ever do this. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they wouldn't do this. I don't think Dana would do this. They would never do this. But in theory, let's talk about two different fight promoters. Let's just talk about two different fight promoters. Let's say fight promoter one is friends with fighter one, and fighter one goes to fight for fight promoter two. Fight promoter one could send, I don't know, $1 million in crypto to fighter one to pull out of the fight. And it's not really super traceable, you know what I mean? And now that fight doesn't happen, and the Netflix goes bad, and everybody's complaining, and then the White House pops off, and the White House has knockouts, and the White House has fighter jets, and everybody's like, man, the UFC is where to be, right? Like, it could go down like that, guys. Like, that's how, okay, and maybe it's not even in the realm of possibility, right? But like, we got crypto now, we got gambling going on, we got a lot of variables, right? We got a lot of, like, you think that they're thrilled? Do you think that Paramount is thrilled that Netflix is trying to compete with them? Do you think they're thrilled? Do you think Netflix is thrilled that Paramount came in via a Donald Trump connection for Dana White's UFC, that the UFC was about to sign with Netflix and then signed with Paramount? Do you think that Netflix is happy about it? No, so Netflix is trying to get at of them directly. Netflix wants to be in the MMA space. They want to be in the MMA game, right? They want to be in the live community because a lot of the things that people can sell sponsorships and get actual viewers on is live. It's live sports, right? Because as we start to stream more, as AI comes out more, as people post more, there's a lot more options. But the one thing that you can't really replicate is being there live, watching it on, your device. So as it happens, you could watch the replay, but sporting events aren't as cool on replay usually. So a lot of these streaming platforms feel the future is in live sports. So they want to be in the MMA world. They want to be in the MMA game. They wanted to be in the UFC business. Donald Trump brokered a deal for Dana or something to that effect, that Paramount came in and gave way more money to the UFC than Netflix was offering at the last minute. UFC bounced, went that direction. And now we have an MMA war going on. So I don't know, man. To me, that sounds crazy. I don't think any of that's happening. But man, can you imagine if Ronda pulls out of this fight? What if two people pulled out? What if Ronda pulled out? And what if Nate pulled out? And I don't think that Nate would pull out, but I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking. Then what? Then what? They don't have a roster of people to pull from. They did say, however, they're going to announce one more fight. We're going to get to that in 1 second. Before we do, the UFC this is another rumor. Today's all rumors and nonsense, guys. None of this has been verified. This is just what the people are talking about. I keep my ear to the streets, okay? I'm at the gym. I'm with the teenagers. I'm, teaching classes. I hear these guys. They're like 15. They're gambling on fights. They're running parlays. They're in the freaking meme sphere. You know what I mean? And I hear what's trending right now. And allegedly, the UFC has one more fight that they have not announced. They're going to announce one more fight, allegedly, for the White House card. Now, maybe you believe that, maybe you don't. I hope it's true. But, guys, like I said, I'm a little bit, maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm too hopeful. Maybe I have such positive energy that I just feel like anything's possible. And I really want I want the best fight card we can get for the White House. And I just feel like, man, maybe they got one fight up their sleeve. One fight. What if it was like just John Jones, man? But like, who would John fight? Who would he fight? Maybe they're like, hey, you know what? F it. We're going to bring Conor in. We're going to crush this Netflix thing. Ronda might be training too hard. Maybe she gets injured. Maybe Conor comes to the White House. Like, these are the conspiracies that are, flying around. And as far as the Jake Paul rumor that he's got one more fight to announce and he's going to announce it tomorrow, that's from Jake himself. So that isn't like some conspiratorial rumor. That's that's a conspiracy without the theory, right? There's no theorizing. The first kind of stuff we talked about, that's just theories. Like, people have this theory that Ronda's going to drop out and she's playing 5D chess with Dana and he learned that from Trump and now we're making these plays and we're going to crush our competitor Netflix. But Jake Paul's making a big announcement tomorrow. Who could it be? Could it be Darren Till? Could it be Anderson Silva versus Darren Till in MMA? Could that be the announcement? Who else could it be? Tyron Woodley versus Anderson Silva? Could it be Darren Till versus Tyron Woodley? The reason why I'm saying these names is because these are the names that are not with the UFC right now, but they have been doing more celebrity-style boxing. I don't think it's going to be, I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to be Darren Till because I believe that Jake likes to keep the people close to him that he's fought directly. I would imagine it's got something to do with Tyron Woodley or Anderson Silva. And if it's Anderson Silva, that's freaking crazy, guys. So I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow. They're going to pop out another fight. And, man, it could be a big one. So hopefully we get another fight on the White House and this situation turns out good for all of us, because the more fights we get, the more banger cards we get, the better it is. And I'm super excited to be an observer of the fight outside of the fight, which is the battle between Netflix and Paramount, the battle between UFC and MVP, the battle between Jake Paul and Dana White. It's going down. There's a fight surrounding the fights, and we get the fights too, guys. It's a crazy time to be in the fight game. Speaking of crazy, crazy things that are happening, let's get into the next story of the day, guys. Let me take a sip of this Zevia. This will put me at 400, 500. When I finish this one, this will be 520 milligrams of caffeine so far. I'm probably going to get to 720 before I go spar felony. So just so you guys know where I'm at on the caffeinated spectrum, I'll have 720 milligrams in my system within the next like 2 hours. Okay. So Ryan Garcia of boxing fame did the body shot challenge against the looks maxer himself, the number one mogger, even though he's like ranked number 50 on the fucking mog rankings. Clavicular. So Ryan Garcia versus Clavicular in the body shot challenge. And dude, listen, it was kind of a bad look for Ryan Garcia, man, because they got Neon there. Look, I got my Zevia in the shot. Let me move it over here, guys. They had Ryan Garcia doing the body shot challenge against Clavicular. If you haven't seen this, Neon's there. Neon's a little nerdy dude, right? Oh, I'm nervous about everything. Oh no, we're getting right, like one of those dudes, you know. And Neon's like, you gotta hold tight while he does it. And dude, Clavicular took it like a G. Now, Clavicular then sparred Neon, and they both look gay, but they're supposed to look gay. It's their first time sparring. Neither one of these dudes have ever been in a street fight. You know what I mean? Like, so one of my teammates, he's on the amateur team, and he was going to go into a fight against a dude that's very, very wrestling heavy. And my teammate, student, I don't know what we call him. I train with him, but he comes to class sometimes, but whatever, right? Like, anyway, he's from Extreme Couture. He pulled up and he was like, hey, should I fight this guy? And I had two questions for him. Are you, what up? We got the emojis in the chat. And he pulled up and he was like, hey, should I fight this wrestling heavy dude? And I'm like, are you comfortable with him trying to pin you down and not fight for 3 rounds to try and win the fight by not losing, or hold you against the cage terrified? Right? If you're comfortable with that and you know that's the type of fight you're going to get in, well, then just expect that. And the other thing I asked him, because he's 0-0 as an amateur, how many street fights have you been in? And he's like, dude, that's how I got into MMA. I was street fighting, and then I heard I could fight. So I signed up to the gym and I started training. And I'm like, okay, so you've been in fights. He's like, yeah, I've been in fights, you know. Like, and if you've been in street fights, you've been jumped, you've been in all that, that's a huge advantage for the situation of getting locked in a cage with somebody. So Clavicular and Neon clearly have never been in street fights. People say that Clavicular used to work security, but he must have not had a lot of physical altercations. Even though people say he was working security at a nightclub at the age of 17 and the math don't add up, and that he's actually older than he really says he is. I believe he was like a busboy there, and then they had him walking people in as security, not actual like security, but you know, him and Neon sparred. If you guys want to get, if you guys want to see something really bad, go watch that. But Clav did take the body shots like a champ. I think it made Ryan Garcia look a little bad, and that's the problem with these influencers and these MMA fighters or boxers or professionals, is I see this all the time. They come into Extreme Couture and they want the smoke, right? A lot of dudes want the smoke with Sean Strickland, or they want the smoke with Natan, right? And Natan is a Jewish fighter out of Extreme Couture. So a lot of dudes come in, for whatever reasons, want to fight Natan. And dude, if you go light on these people, right? Like, if Strickland goes light on somebody, then they go on the stream and they're like, yo, Sean Strickland, UFC champ, couldn't even drop me. I hung my... Like, they feel like they held their own. They hung with the champ. They feel like they did something. They go out there and they try and, like, get clout and street cred because you were being nice to them. The problem is, if you go harder, you fuck them up, and then you look like this dude that's just beating the fucking piss out of influencers, which I find funny, guys. Okay? You can judge me if you want. I find it funny. I'm like, yeah, man, the guy wants to smoke. He signed the waiver. Listen, we hand out concussions here. That's what we do. Kick him in the body, drop him to the liver, kick his legs out from under him, slap him upside his head, mush his face in the mat, dude. Deter these guys from coming to the gym, trying to get the smoke for their clout so that they can say, oh, I survived 3 rounds with Strickland, or I survived a round. None of that, dude. I want to see him go harder on these guys. And it's like, King David, you said you want to see Sean Strickland, UFC world champion, beat up untrained people? Yeah, bro, they want it. They need to know what they're asking for. And a lot of these guys get the wrong impression. So Ryan Garcia is doing the body shot challenge with Clavicular, puts on the body pad, which absorbs a lot of the impact. And now Ryan Garcia is cracking on him. Boom, boom. And then Clavicular stands there unfazed. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, like good for Clavicular, but like, let's be real. The body pad was absorbing a lot of the body shots. And Ryan Garcia now looks like he can't drop a fucking looks maxing streamer. Like what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing? But yeah, man, if you want to see some ridiculous bullshit, go watch Clavicular and Neon spar. Speaking of mega influencers, Joe Rogan had some hot ass takes about the UFC. And a lot of these takes are not what we would expect from Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was actually kind of critical. And this leads me to this conspiracy theory, which is Joe Rogan has dual alliances, right? Because Joe Rogan has several Netflix specials for his comedy. Oh, you are fired. Thank you. Takes one to know one. Let's go. Flames in the chat. You know what I'm saying? We're fired up over here. Joe Rogan has hot takes, but he is both a Netflix comedy special haver and a UFC commentator. So he's got dual allegiance, guys. Who's he loyal to? And today he was saying that Ronda Rousey has some points. He took Ronda's side while Ronda's banging on the UFC for fighter pay, right? He's saying that Netflix might be the biggest MMA fight in history in terms of viewership. He said 50 million people might watch the Ronda Rousey fight. It might be the biggest fight in history. He's employed by a rival fight company, y'all. He's boys with Dana. Furthermore, Joe spoke his mind, right? Like, and this is the crazy part to me, because there's all these people saying that, like, you know, you can't speak out against the UFC and all. Joe's speaking out. Joe said he wants Francis in the UFC. He didn't want Francis to go to Netflix. He wanted to broker a peace deal. We're talking peace deals, guys. Joe Rogan wanted to mediate and broker a peace deal between Dana and Francis. He wanted to sit them both in the room, and his words were, can I help? I want to help. He wanted to help get Francis back to the UFC. Dana didn't want that. That's Joe's words. Okay, so Joe is spilling the tea about conversations that are happening off camera backstage. That was kind of crazy. He said Ronda Rousey has a point. Man, he said Netflix is the biggest potential fight in history, which implies it will be bigger than the White House card, which he will be announcing at. So it's like, bro, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? We're collecting 2 checks. We're collecting that Netflix comedy special money. You know, people are talking, Joe. And I'm like, hey, listen, man, I support it. Joe's keeping it real. And I think everything he said was very based. I think what Joe Rogan said was 100% accurate. I do think that Netflix doing this will help fighter pay for everybody. I do think that the UFC, legally, they do have an obligation to their shareholders. Now, could they still be profitable and maybe pay some guys more and get the big fights we want? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they could do that. It's doable. But I guess that what they're looking at is, man, how long until this thing goes crazy and we have to pay people $100 million because, you know, Netflix is going to pay people $100 million. So they're probably trying to squeeze every drop out of the lemon that they can to get the most lemonade. You know what I mean? They're trying to get maximum value. Joe Rogan also went on to say that if YouTube decides that YouTube wants to get in the game, YouTube is the biggest platform of them all. So can you guys imagine a future where we have UFC essentially free on Paramount if you buy the $8 or $9 app or whatever? I got the upgraded one with no ads, and then somehow I'm still seeing ads or something. I don't know, guys. I don't know how it works, right? I'm not a technological genius, right? I'm a subject matter expert. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, a pro MMA champion, a coach at Extreme Couture. That's what I'm an expert on. But can you imagine Paramount Plus, UFC cards, Netflix, MVP, MMA cards, and now YouTube comes in with like YouTube Fight Smash TV or something, right? And now we have another competitor that's paying tens or hundreds of millions of dollars to fighters. Dude, I think this is good for everybody, and maybe I'm too optimistic. Maybe I read the background too many times, good vibes only. Maybe I believe in the future, right? Maybe I have a positive attitude, and I should be more doom and gloom, okay? But I think this is good for everybody, man. I'm super excited, And while I don't necessarily even want it to be true, I find this UFC 5D chess, Dana White, Donald Trump, Ronda Rousey conspiracy theory extremely entertaining. What if it's true? What if it's true? What if the youth at the gym called it? What if the youth knows what's up? What if they got their ear to the meme sphere and they know something that we don't know, right? That Dana and Ronda are collabing to crush Netflix. Could that be possible? Anything's possible, right? I mean, what timeline are we even on, guys? What timeline? Dude, I've been watching these Mandela effect videos. Guys, I'm off the deep end, okay? That's another reason why I say all politics is jester, right? That's one thing that I do agree with Clavicular on, is that politics, man, is just going to stress you out, right? You're probably not in a position to make any change. You're probably going to get stressed out. This country's bombing that country, or you're on the other side. You're like, that country's doing attacks on our, but whatever, right? Everybody's stressing, right? And meanwhile, I'm over here watching Mandela effect memes. You know, like those are the reels in my feed right now. It's getting crazy. I'm off the deep end. So today's show, all about conspiracy theories, guys. I appreciate everybody hopping in the chat. Listen, man, the subscriber count is going up daily now. So I appreciate everybody subscribing. You guys are in good company. Dana White follows me on Instagram. Andrew Tate, the most Googled man on the planet, follows me on X. Jody High Roller, a.k.a. Riff Raff, a.k.a. the greatest rapper on the planet, follows me on Instagram. Grant Cardone, billionaire, certified billionaire, $5 billion in assets under management with his real estate portfolios, follows me on Instagram. You're in good company. Felony Charles Bennett hops on the stream from time to time with me. That's MMA legendary status. He's an MMA pioneer. So when you guys subscribe, when you tap the notification bell, you're in excellent company. Excellent, excellent, excellent company. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that if you're a real one. If you don't like the fact that I think boxing is fake and that Jake Paul would beat up Ilia Topuria if they sparred, maybe I'm not the guy for you, right? I keep it too real. I say what's on my mind. Maybe that's too much for this generation, right? Like maybe that's too much. Maybe you guys want me to blow sunshine up your skirt, tap you on the ass and tell you that you're pretty. There's other channels for that. There's other channels that'll tell you a YouTuber can't fight. They'll say Jake Paul's a fraud because he was on Disney. They'll say that. I'll just look at it objectively like, man, he KO'd Woodley. He KO'd Woodley. He beat Anderson Silva. He beat Nate Diaz. He beat Mike Perry. I guess the guy can box pretty decently. Okay, I guess if he sparred another UFC champion who's not even Anderson Silva's size, who he beat in boxing, if he sparred a 45er who moved up to 55, he's probably going to have a chance of doing well. And that struck controversy in my comments. Guys, read the comment section, right? Bang on these nerds with me, okay? There's people out there that got crazy, crazy takes in the comment section. Some people are reasonable, and we end up coming to a mutual agreement, like agree to disagree. I may have some insight that somebody might not know about. Maybe I know Overt PJ, Overt Flow. Maybe I know him. Maybe he's friends with Jake Paul. Maybe he was in Puerto Rico with Jake Paul. Maybe he has insight as to who Jake Paul beats up in sparring. The same way that people had insight into Conor McGregor beating up Paulie Malignaggi, and nobody wanted to believe Conor beat up a world champion boxer. Dude, and then Conor dropped the video dropping him. Conor dropped the video dropping him, and people still didn't believe that Conor could beat him. It's like, dude, you guys, boxing's not that complicated. It's left hand, right hand. Okay, well, what about the footwork? Okay, well, if the dude does some footwork you don't know, maybe you disengage. Maybe you only engage on terms that you understand, right? Maybe you do that. Maybe hypothetically, he's going to throw a left hand or a right hand. Okay, and when I say boxing is fake, I'll leave you guys with this because we're getting way off into the deep end right now. Because you guys know in your heart boxing's not like an actual combat sport, right? It's like an imaginary scenario. Like, what if we boxed in space with no gravity and there was no what did I miss? Oh man, you missed everything, man. You missed everything. We popped off conspiracy theory, screaming Illuminati. You know, like the whole thing. Those are Jay-Z lyrics, by the way. Yeah. So boxing's fake. Here's why. Boxing is fake because it happens in an imaginary vacuum when there's no gravity. Because in a real fight, Gravity can pull you to the ground. In a real fight, you have the planet Earth to wedge that person between an entire planet that they're not going to move and your body if you know how to control them. So Khabib is the best striker that we've ever seen because he can outstrike anybody 183-2 if he wants to, because he can take them down and strike them. That's actual striking. Those are strikes. I know, but what about hands, man? Well, dude, if we pretend it's an imaginary rule set where we can only throw these pillows at each other with no elbows, no knees, no kicks, no gravity, no takedowns, no submissions, right? And then it's like, okay, well, dude, we're fucking playing chess at this point. It's golf at this point, right? It's one step removed from golf. Well, what if we take away the hands and we just fight with our shoulders, guys? Like, how ridiculous are we going to get at this point? Like, for real. And so I'm happy when people get money, right? Shout out to Conor Benn for getting $15 million. Okay, Conor Benn has beat the system. He's competing in a fake sport, right? That's not actual combat. Like, it's like protective, limited rules combat so that you don't have to actually know how to fight. It's like the craziest thing ever. And he got 15 million. So shout out to that guy for beating the freaking system. I still got another 200 milligrams to go after this. We're getting lit today, guys. We're gonna get to 720. We might get to 920. Maybe we'll break 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. That's what I like to do in my free time, okay? If you guys got I get it. It's not for everybody, right? That much caffeine shocks people. But the FDA says only get 200 milligrams or less, man. Y'all, we don't listen to nerds, bro. Some doctors who get paid off to try and make your life suck by limiting what you're capable of, bro. Dude, I'm on caffeine. I'm on lion's mane, okay? I'm taking L-theanine. I'm seeing the future, y'all. It's like the Matrix is unfolding in front of me. It's like fucking numbers are raining down from the sky. You know what I mean? That's how we get, man. Anyways, subscribe, notify yourself, notify me, hop on the chats, get in the freaking chat, man. I got the whole setup coming. We got some work to do tonight. I'm going to go spar Felony, put these dogs on him. You know what I mean? He's going to try and bounce my head off his hands. And then we're going to go eat some delicious snacks together afterwards. We're probably going to stop by Sprouts or Whole Foods because that's how we do it, okay? That's what we do here, guys. Caffeine, cookies, and combat, man. So I love you guys. Subscribe, hit the notifications, and send every single gym owner you know to Studio Millions. Tell them that you're going to hook them up. And when they do, when they sign up to Studio Millions and they make a bunch of money, tell them you want a kickback, right? Just off what they make. So you'll get paid. They'll love you. I love you guys. I'll holler at you later. Maybe I'll hop on again tonight. Who knows? No telling what I might do.